Our next question is from a talking sock, so we'll just skip on that because he asked. No, we're kidding. We'll answer your questions. We don't really give a shit. He asks, what is each of your favorite neglected Nintendo IPs? Mine is Custom-Robo. By the way, just to let you know, I don't know if you knew this, a talking sock, if you're still in the chat. You should check out the game Synaptic Drive on the Switch. It's by the creator. It's by series creator of Custom-Robo, and it's borderline an HD remaster of Custom-Robo without actually being an HD remaster of Custom-Robo.
What'd you call it? Septic Drive?
It's septic. Synaptic. It's
Synaptic.
like it's like Synaptic Drive or something. It's got kind of middling reviews, but most of it is just like people being like, yeah, it's Custom-Robo with like nothing new.
I've wanted to make a review on Synaptic Drive for a while. In fact, it was once an option in a community poll I held on what videos I should prioritize for the future. I felt compelled recently to make this review a priority because of that Source Gaming clip you saw in the opening. To very quickly touch on the points Colin said in regards to the game, A, I have checked out Synaptic Drive. I paid $30 US for it on launch day. I wanted to like it, believe me I did. I did not. B, it is not a borderline remake. It's missing most of the bodies and weapons, features, brand new gameplay mechanics, removed some gameplay mechanics, and most egregiously of all, it's completely lacking in single-player content, which for a Custom-Robo successor is a massive oversight, considering the story modes are the most fun part for most fans of the game. And by the way, the online sucks too. And C, the game did indeed get middling reviews, but not because it's just Custom-Robo with nothing new. It's because it's just a bad game, and has very little in common with Custom-Robo in the first place. And when I say it's a bad game, I don't just mean to say that it's a bad follow-up to Custom-Robo. I mean it's just a bad game even on its own merits. When I first got the game, I thought to myself, I know this won't be Custom-Robo, but it will surely feel like Custom-Robo, enough to curb my cravings for a new game at least. It didn't. It doesn't, and it was not worth $30 US. Let's get into it. Believe me folks, I tried. I really tried, and still try to this day to at least like this game. I'll play a few rounds, squint my eyes, tell myself it's good enough on its own merits, but it just isn't. For starters, the gameplay is off, especially when compared to Custom-Robo. The pure combat isn't bad, it's functional. It's not good though. It's maybe a little too fast-paced for one-on-one battles in arenas this big, and that doesn't help make up for the lack of sliding either. Using wires, the new tertiary weapon activated by the right joystick, feels like a crapshoot every time I try to aim it properly. It's supposed to be something you can choose to detonate later or just let zip around the arena sporadically before it explodes, but it's too unwieldy to be reliable. Tactically speaking, I found no advantage in using it. I also like the idea of having a special meter that unleashes an ultimate move, but from what I can tell, each character has their own corresponding special moves or buffs, and none of them are clearly defined or indicated for convenient, let alone advantageous use. Aside from those gripes, the combat, as a whole, is fine. But that's all it is. Fine. And that wouldn't be so bad, were it not for the fact that it's the best thing this game has to offer. In terms of art direction, it feels... how do I put it? Uninspired. Custom-Robo isn't exactly the most unique series out there, but at the very least the Robo characters are understandable, recognizable, distinct, and consistent from game to game. The human characters, in the GameCube game at least, are endearing, in a cartoony, larger-than-life kind of way. And the world is magnifico. It has a clear technology impeding biology motif going on. It's not only neat to look at, but also informed by the story and world building. But hey, no spoilers. Synaptic Drive's character designs are... The concepts at play aren't bad. In fact, I think under different circumstances they could be passable at the very least. The thing is, with Custom-Robo, the player characters are a little more than toys by nature. Models designed with function over form. So names and attitudes don't have to take precedent. In many ways they did, but that's beside the point. In Synaptic Drive, each character is an independent, free-thinking individual. When you're working with actual characters, higher emphasis needs to be placed on fleshing them out. At least on a surface level, each fighter should convey character traits beyond their size, looks, or archetype. I mean, look at Tim over here. This is Tim. What's his MO? What's he about? Why is he called Tim? Look at him! But don't worry. Even if the characters themselves aren't distinct or clearly defined on the whole, at least they have backstories. That'll help make them endearing. Won't it? In terms of the overall story and premise, we have this black wall with white text. It takes up one screen. Clearly not much emphasis was placed on world building. But whatever. Simple premises can go a long way, especially in fighting games. Let's take a look at one of the characters' individual backstories. This is Rex, a highly evolved reptile from another planet. Despite looking like a hulking, cold-blooded monster, he's actually a gentlemanly, well-spoken scientist who entered the competition because he's fascinated by the Synaptic Drive's mental stimulation enhancements. He also apparently doesn't like being misjudged by people from less evolved planets, and has a human battle partner named Yuri who banters about neuroscience with him. Sounds pretty cool. A gentle soul in a beast's body. A tried but true concept. I'm easy to please, just so long as you utilize the concepts you're working with. So, how are his mannerisms in-game? Huh. Well, he's just kinda lizarding it up there. And none of the characters have voice clips, so I guess we don't get to hear that scholarly manner of speech. Shame. And that's just one example. Every character in this game is described similarly in the Others menu. They have some sort of generic, tropey backstory, and have some sort of quirk or relationship that adds nothing to the story or is even reflected in their in-game mannerisms. And by the way, where is Yuri? Rex's female human battle partner. Have I not unlocked her? Nope, got everybody. Oh, but of course, she's a battle partner, like boxers or whatever. I guess she just doesn't show up in the game itself. But it's implied that she's communicating with him telepathically? Okay. And you know what? Every character in the game has a battle partner too, but none of them are anywhere to be seen in the game itself. Why even bother to set up the whole battle partner thing with every character if battle partners themselves might as well not exist in the game? Oh, but wait, maybe Yuri and the rest of the battle partners are on the official website. Games do that nowadays, right? Delegate world building to external sites? I expect to at least find some concept or promo art. Nope. Nothing here that isn't in the game, aka next to nothing anyway. So little thought was put into the world and characters of this game. The characters are even referred to in-game as bodies. For customizable robots, that makes sense. You're choosing what body to build for your own personalized robot. But for characters who, in the context of the story, come from all corners of the universe and have willingly entered an intergalactic fighting event for the purpose of gaining power, knowledge, money, or any number of personal desires tailored specifically to each individual character, calling them bodies makes it sound like they're expendable, uninteresting, a strategic choice rather than a fully fledged fictional character. It's ironic in a way, how Custom-Robos like Rayo 1, Swift, and Sealhead feel more like identifiable characters than Tim, Patrick, or Mirabelle. Or Clown. Now, in the game's defense, it is an indie endeavor. Voice actors are expensive. Creating distinct animations for each character is a time dump. I can forgive all of this missed potential so long as the single player has literally anything to offer at all. Something as simple as a wall of text before and after each fighter's arcade run would suffice at the very least. Well, Synaptic Drive can't even muster what I thought was the bare minimum. The only single-player options in this game are arcade, training, and tutorial. Training and tutorial, by the way, I think go without saying, don't pass for actual in-game content. Arcade would have been enough, were it not for the fact that it's literally just 5 random fights in a row that are required for unlocking equipment and characters. And by characters, I mean bodies, so by bodies, I guess I mean more equipment. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying Synaptic Drive is bad because it lacks content. I've never subscribed to that as a valid criticism for games. You don't judge something by what it doesn't have, you judge by what it does have. I feel like ARMS, for example, one of my favorite Nintendo games in recent memory, gets a bad rap for not including some expansive, cutscene-heavy single-player campaign. That's to say nothing for how awesome the lore is, endearing the characters are, vast the modes of play are, and surprisingly smooth the online is, but I'm getting off topic. In short, I don't begrudge Synaptic Drive for not having a fun and interesting story-driven campaign mode like Custom-Robo before it. That said, what it does have in terms of single-player content? Boy. I don't know if I'm just too good or the AI's just too bad, but I honestly can't tell if these rounds even ramp up in difficulty as they go on, so I hardly feel challenged. And equipment and characters have very little presence in the game overall, so I don't feel motivated to trudge through it to unlock more. And what's more? Well, nothing. There is no more. There's so little to it. You can choose between 3 types of rule sets and unlock a 4th, but there's still 2. Buh! And the gameplay is fine at best, but the challenge just isn't there. As I previously stated, I try not to judge games by what they don't include. So even if 5 fights with 4 rule sets has to be the only single-player mode available, it could have at least included a little preface and epilogue before and after each round. Maybe let the freestyle option include personalized setups and endings specific to each fighter. The only setup we have for the game on the whole is that black screen with the white text. And as we went over with Rex, there's nothing more than a rough draft casting description for each fighter too. I'm not asking for fully animated cutscenes, comics, documents, or even artwork. Something as small as little pre-match exchanges like freaking Brawlout would have been more than enough to motivate me. I ask for at least the bare minimum, and they give me less than that. But I digress. Clearly, Koji Kenju believes that the most important element of Custom-Robo, and therefore the most important element of this new project Synaptic Drive, is the competitive multiplayer. This game isn't Custom-Robo. I know this. I would have liked more single-player offerings, but c'est la vie. So it's lacking in the story department and has no satisfying single-player content. It's a competitive multiplayer game, right? Why not hop online and fight some fellow Synaptic Drivers over the web? Well, it's not necessarily the game's fault that no one's playing it. It's even got crossplay between Switch and Steam, so it's not for lack of trying either. But take my word when I tell you that even when players were active, the online just didn't work. You're probably seeing some footage that I borrowed from some far-off corner of the internet, or articles and reviews backing up my claim that the online sucked right now, because I didn't have a capture card, let alone this channel, when the game released last May. But yeah, if I'm alone with my Switch and want some engaging faux Custom-Robo Synaptic Drive-y fun, I'm out of luck, unless I want to pummel more helpless CPUs. But what about local multiplayer? Yeah! Maybe my family, who exclusively want to play Jackbox games and occasionally break out Smash or Mario Kart, will play this tactical arena fighter that you have to scroll through a million flavorless text menus before every match. But what about friends? Well, I don't exactly have a lot of gamer friends. Not to mention we've kind of been in lockdown mode in my area from the day the game released up to the time of recording this. So this game has nothing to do alone, nothing to do online, and I have no one to try the multiplayer with. Awesome. I've been missing Custom-Robo for a long time. Not just missing the pure gameplay, but also the designs, the stories, seeing how they integrate the core concepts to different settings, and the music! I've been missing everything about Custom-Robo. I spent $30 on Synaptic Drive, I'm still missing Custom-Robo. The whole ordeal would have left me in a real sour mood were it not for the fact that Bug Fables came out on Switch on the same day. That is how you make a spiritual successor. Bug Fables integrates the style, tropes, mechanics, and progression system of Paper Mario, while also introducing new things to call its own. It's marvelous, I can't recommend it enough. Synaptic Drive, on the other hand, rethinks Custom-Robo's mechanics to its detriment, cuts the roster and customization options from the last games, completely removes the story and world-building Custom-Robo is famous for and replaces it with next to nothing, and doesn't even add functional online to compensate for it. So yeah, that's my review of Synaptic Drive. As a game, it falls flat. As a Custom-Robo successor, it falls very flat. It has potential. Some sort of free story DLC that attempts to do the bare minimum for single-player content is possible, and might also incentivize people to go online again, and maybe they've since fixed the issues. But even if that happens, it won't change how ambivalent I feel toward it as a game, or how frustrated it makes me that this is the best the original creator of Custom-Robo could come to making a successor. So that's that. I was going to finish this video off with a heartfelt plea to Colin of Source Gaming to clean up his act, but I don't want to sully this review with semi-off-topic squabbles. So instead, we're going to take another listen to some Custom-Robo jams while my lovely Patreon supporters march across the screen. Woo! If you'd like to support my endeavors, as well as receive benefits such as getting your name in the credits of my videos to being immortalized in your very own Talking Socksona, then consider supporting my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or as much as $10 a month. Man, I'm getting a lot better at saying that in sequence. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you the next time I see you.